All right, guys, what is up? Peace and purpose. I'm Jorge, and welcome to the Jorge Cruz podcast, guys. Our theme for 2025 is one thought, and really for me, it's probably the most important distinction or ethos, kind of like spirit, right, that I've ever had in the sense of a wellness author. Because for me, I've always been focused in on weight loss. You guys know me. I mean, my first book came out in 2001. I was in my 20s, right? I'm 53 this year, gonna be 54 in March, so a couple months away. But I can tell you a lot has happened since 2001. And for me, a lot of my evolution has been about understanding really what we need to do to stay well as busy people, as Americans, right? Now, my books, I've been really fortunate. A lot of my books have been translated in up to 16 languages. I've written 39 of them. I'm working on my 40th, which I'll talk about later this month. And for me, it's all about doing a book that I need because they always say authors write books that they themselves want to read, right? So, and I always believe that because when I was a kid growing up in San Diego, I was overweight. I didn't know that a lot of my frustrations about being different, my grandmother used to say to me in Spanish, "Tú no eres maricón," which means you're not gay. And I didn't know I was gay. And back in the 80s and 90s, I was born in 71, guys, that wasn't a thing. It just wasn't. And for me, she made it sound like it was cancer. So I was like, oh, I don't want that. And so for me, I didn't know that a lot of the reason I probably was overweight was due to the fact that I was inside just, well, a little sad and a little empty and just trying to numb it. And you know what? The best number out there is, and they say it's more addictive than hard drugs like heroin, and that is sugar. And I became, as a young kid, by age 9, probably a sugar addict, where sugar was the way I started my day with my Captain Crunch cereal. How many people can remember good old Captain Crunch, right? A lot of milk, if not half a gallon a day, all sugar, like 29 grams of sugar per cup. Captain Crunch, we're not even getting the numbers here. But long story short, I put on a lot of weight because for me it worked, right? We always, as someone who's been through a lot, and I definitely have been through that, we do things that work for us to survive. And for me, that's how I got through my childhood. And that's why I was overweight, not knowing that in my 20s, exercise became my new addiction, which is way better. Obviously, it's a positive, a win-win if you don't overdo it. And so for me, that's what my first book was about. It was called 8 Minutes in the Morning. We've talked about it before many a times. And it was something that Anthony Robbins, my buddy Anthony Robbins, wrote the introduction to, and was about working out in the morning. And talk about a great way to overcome depression or sadness is working out in the morning. And to this day, all the science shows without question that that is the thing we all have to do in the sense of keeping success and discipline going and also revving our metabolism. And more importantly, in my opinion, it's about taking a happy pill, because what the science has shown is exercise is probably the easiest way to increase serotonin and dopamine levels, that makes us feel good, And so for me, right, these days, if I'm ever stressed, I hit the gym, and that's why sometimes in the mornings I'm there for up to 2 hours lifting, doing some cardio or doing yoga. I do a lot of that stuff. And so for me, what this has all come down to, and over the last 3 years, I've learned a lot about myself inside. I've learned about my ego. I've learned about how it wasn't my amigo, right? It wasn't my friend. For all my Spanish-speaking buddies and friends out there, hola and bienvenidos. But you guys, we all know what an ego is. And for me, as a Latin kid growing up in a Spanish-speaking family, I had no idea that the ego was designed to help me survive. And a lot of times our ego will create things that are in our mind fearful or things to avoid, or things that we can go after to try to kind of reclaim. And so for me, it was all work. I became a workaholic after I was a workout-aholic. Does that make sense? But I never drank wine. I never smoked. I never did any of that until midlife, until about 50. Now, I'm not going to make this podcast about my midlife crisis. I've talked about that in past shows. But what I want to share with you today is what I'm so excited to invite you to join me next month on February the 3rd. I'm launching a 19-day free Feel Great All Day Challenge. And instead of focusing in on weight loss, I believe what has happened in the last less than a year now, was less than a year ago, that in March of last year, Oprah Winfrey kind of changed the conversation globally. Now, I don't think Miss Winfrey knows how significant what she did on, if you guys want to look it up on YouTube, it was March 17th that she did an ABC special on GLP-1 drugs. Do you all know what I mean? Like Ozempic, those kind of drugs. And it shifted everyone's thinking in the culture, especially diet authors like me, because could it be for the first time in history, that we have now something that maybe isn't dangerous? I remember when I was starting my career, a lot of celebrity clients that I knew were on stimulants like Fen-Phen or other things. And that, ends up your hands shaking like that. And not an ideal way to live your life on stimulants night and day. But GLP-1 drugs, if you guys have researched them or seen the people on them like Oprah Winfrey, they don't have those effects. And for me, I was a little hesitant at first to even embrace it, but now I've come publicly and said, you know what? And I have a lot of celebrity clients that to this day are, how shall we say, in denial that medications can help. But I actually really think GLP-1 drugs can, and there's a place for them. Now, this challenge is more about how to turn off hunger, though. And my point is that GLP-1 drugs and 3 essential minerals can also do that. And for me, as an author, as much as I want to write a book, and I probably will someday on GLP-1 drugs, what I wanted to finally do is put together a book with the science and the origin story of what I did during COVID. Now, for those of you that have been following me, I'm going to give you the episodes. I believe they're episodes 170 to 177 of my podcast that I shot during COVID that share how 3 essential minerals. Now, I'm going to give you the 3. Jot these down, guys. Sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Those are the 3. When you utilize those in the proper amounts, they basically, it's like a hunger eraser. It erases your hunger. Now, you may be thinking, why do I want sodium? Why do I want potassium? Why do I magnesium? I could just do GLP-1 drugs. Sure. Now, they're expensive. It's like $1,200 a month, right? Some of them. And they can have side effects, which, obviously you can compensate for. But imagine having in your life 3 minerals that we're deprived of, and I'll tell you why in a second. And now your hunger just is regulated, where by drinking, say, these minerals in water, adding a little lemon or stevia or something sweet and yummy that you may like that adds no calories, you can now have a way to start your day, beyond 8 minutes in the morning, right? But start your way with a simple glass of water, we'll say, with a little bit of minerals and electrolytes that you can make at home and give you the recipe and basically shut down your hunger. Now, you can drink this as much as you want throughout the day. I've had clients that have done this. This is what I did during COVID, right, guys? There are magazine articles written on this. If you go to zerohungerwater.com, that's all there, and you can check it out. And we haven't launched that product yet. It's something I'm hoping we're going to do this year, but I don't want to talk about that right now. What I want to talk to you is about joining me next month in February the 3rd, for a 19-day challenge where we go live, kind of like this, but on Zoom, and I'm only taking in 100 people today in this week, and we're going to keep the doors open as long as we can until we get to 100 qualified people. And you can simply go to my website, jorgecruz.com. I'll give you the link in the show notes. Or you can go to feelgreatallday.com. That's the other website. It'll go to jorgecruz.com where you can apply. And it's totally free. Whether you have 10 pounds to lose or you have 120 to lose or more, whether it's 2 inches of belly fat or whether it's 25 belly inches, whatever it is, this program for 19 days, you'll have me helping you, will give you, I think, for the first time, a component that a lot of people skip over, and that is minerals, right? So let me tell you about what I learned during COVID, because it wasn't me. I'm not a PhD, and I'm not someone that studies this kind of stuff at that level. But Dr. James D. Nicolai Antonio, the author of The Salt Fix, is a PhD that I trust. Shout out to Dr. James. If you're watching Dr. James, he was on the podcast during COVID, and he just woke me up to the reality of what you can do with minerals. He wrote the book called The Salt Fix, and then he wrote a book called The Mineral Fix. And honestly, minerals are that powerful. Now, I write on the coattails of this man's success, but then he also pointed to a man named Rob Wolf. You guys know Rob Wolf, my friend. He has an Elemental Labs program, product as well, that we promoted for many years, and it's still a great product to this day. It's more for CrossFit athletic folks. I would definitely say it's a more, what's the word? it's for serious athletes, right? And it's expensive. It's a little bit expensive. And it's not really designed to hunger curb appetite, but it can and it will. I think the ratios are a little extra salty, but some of his clients love that. I've tried it. I enjoy it. But a lot of the clients that I tested out during COVID, all the ways to create zero hunger water, gave me a recipe that worked for the everyday person, kind of like me. And as much as I've done CrossFit, I'm not an athlete. I can promise you that. I'm an ex-fat kid. And for anyone who's an ex-fat person or maybe has a few pounds to lose, I can tell you, I want it sweet, I want it yummy, and I wanted something that I don't taste the salt or the magnesium or the potassium. And so I have a recipe I want you to check out. I'll put this all in the show notes that you can utilize starting right away. I mean, I just want to remind you about it because it's been out there for a while. You can Google it. It's been on TV shows like The Doctors back during COVID. It's been on Radio Andy with Dorinda Medley and my buddy, Dr. Will Cole. The podcast host of The Art of Being Well, amazing podcast. If you know Dr. Will, shout out to Dr. Will. He and I are going to do some podcasts in the near future here. And Rob Wolf and I are as well. But he really was one of the first podcast hosts to have me on his show to talk about zero hunger water and these 3 essential minerals, And that changed everything. That was a couple of years back, right? And so what I want to do now is take you through that in a coaching program that I call Feel Great All Day, and that's the website, feelgreatalldday.com. You can sign up right now. We just opened the doors on this Monday, and you can sign up. Just fill out the form. I'm going to be looking at it all this week. If you have family and friends that you think could benefit from a coaching program where normally when I coach celebrities, it's a couple $1,000s a month, but I can tell you for this, I'm doing this because I feel like I need to pass it on. And more importantly for me, I feel like 2025 is the year that we've made this shift from weight loss to hunger control. I really feel that. And my hat is off, literally. I don't know if you want to see my hair. It's a bad hair day. My hat is off, metaphorically, to Miss Oprah Winfrey for really changing the conversation and getting people like me that may have been stubborn even, saying GLP-1 drugs are drugs and compounds we shouldn't be going for. But she opened my eyes because I've known Oprah since when she had me on her show, 1998 in October. And my life changed when I was on her show. As a kid, she gave me this incredible pep talk saying, Jorge, your life is going to change. And boy, did it, because within a couple of years, I had my first book, went to #1 on the New York Times, translated into 16 languages, had my buddy Tony Robbins write the introduction, and then I became an author. And for the last 23 years, I've been an author, and I'm still an author. And I'm going to be writing a book. But here's why I'm doing this, is because I want you to be successful on it so I can hopefully share some of your success in my next book that'll be out at the end of this year. And as part of this program, you're going to get an advanced copy of what I have, kind of like a mini packet on what this Feel Great All Day program is, how to create the beverage, all in the book and everything. You'll get all this prior to us starting. And all you have to do is fill out your form and share with me a little bit about your story, about why this would be meaningful to you. And more importantly, like what your greatest fear is when it comes to health. Because for me, back in the day, I was overweight, but my dad had prostate cancer when I was 18, and I was scared of losing my dad. And then my mom passed at age 64 from kidney issues. And so for me, health was always a wound. I didn't want to die young. And, to this day, my goal is to live as long as my grandmother, Maria, who lived to be 103. And I think what you're going to discover with this new program, Feel Great All Day, that beyond losing belly fat first, being honest with you, what you're going to discover is you're going to have a way to double your energy and also your lifespan. And for me, as much as I want to lose weight, I want to live a quality life. And more importantly, I also want to really feel great. That's important to me, it really is. And I want to have energy, and energy is a critical component to good health. So with that said, guys, I'm just so excited we kicked this off. I want you to check out my website, feelgreatalldday.com. And you can go to Jorge Cruz as well. They're both there. They'll interlink. You'll sign up there. Get going on it. I'll be back tomorrow with a different topic. I'm going to be back often this week, I think. And my goal is to get you to take some action. Now, you may be thinking, why aren't we starting today, Jorge? Well, they say January the 10th is Quitter's Day, so let Quitter's Day pass. Get your hair down, get it loose, kind of shake it off. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Do your best this month. You can start using Zero Hunger Water right now by getting the recipe at zerohungerwater.com. You can watch the YouTube video. You can just search for it on the internet. It's out there. It's been published in many magazines, so it's free. Use it. You utilize it. Know that I love it. And more importantly, you'll get coaching with me starting on the February the 3rd. So I hope that makes good sense, guys. I'm thrilled we finally kicked this off. Pray for my voice to hold up this week, guys. I don't know why this happened. Things happen once you're in your 50s. You guys know that. But I'm praying, and I'm also hoping really much that if you know someone in your heart that really can benefit from a program that has that accountability that a lot of us don't get in our lives anymore. And hopefully someone who's been there and back, which I have. I've been through every obstacle from 2 divorces to your kids growing up and, you have an empty nest, to starting companies that launch really great but don't. And, I've been through a lot of ups and downs, but I can tell you this program is also multifaceted, because it's not just about the minerals and how to eat. It's also about 2 bonuses that you're going to love in the program. Mindset, which is critical. You're going to learn about the ego, how to manage it, how to use prayer or meditation to turn down fear. And then my second bonus, I call it medicine, but you're going to learn how food is medicine, and it's going to transform your life forever. I really mean that. It really is. So with that said, guys, I hope this makes good sense. I'm excited to have you join the contest and the challenge. Again, go to feelgreatalldday.com. All the links you need are in the show notes here. All right, guys, peace and purpose. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, and please spread the word. See you soon.